Reggie Bush is suing USC, the Pac-12, and the NCAA for all the money they restricted him from making from his name, image, and likeness during his time at USC in the mid-2000s. A lawsuit like this was bound to come, with all the new money coming in the post-NIL era. But Reggie Bush, being the plaintiff of this, has the potential to blow everything up in a hurry. So in case you need some catching up, Reggie Bush had his Heisman taken away, and USC had to vacate its 2004 national title, the entire 2005 season, the 2006 Orange Bowl, as well as some other things, due to gifts that Bush received from an agent during his time at USC. And the agent, Lloyd Lake, sued Bush and his family in November of 2007 in an effort to recoup $291,600 in gifts that mostly boiled down to a 1996 Chevy Impala. Meanwhile, this is 2004, 2005, and renting this house for Bush's family in San Diego. And this lawsuit kickstarted an investigation where the NCAA wrapped up O.J. Mayo, who was a USC basketball player around the same era who also received gifts prior to his time at USC, and a USC women's tennis player who was accused of using a school phone to make unauthorized international calls to her family members like 123 times. They boiled this all together to make an example of USC. And due to all of this, USC's football team ended up being banned from bowl games and losing scholarships, effectively wiping out the program in the early 2010s and playing a big part of another story, a big part in the Pac-12's eventual demise. My demise is no likes and subscribes, so like and subscribe this video right there.
Oh my God.
However, Reggie Bush did get his Heisman back in April of this year, and according to the LA Times, he was going to get his jersey retired at USC in the beginning of this football season in a big ceremony that was going to kind of welcome Reggie Bush back into the USC family after they distanced themselves from him when the sanctions came down in 2010. But those plans fell apart at the last minute. The reasoning behind that cancellation seemingly came down to USC denying two requests from Bush as conditions of the reunion. The first of which was USC assisting in the pursuit of reinstating records that Reggie set during his time as a Trojan, including the Pac-12 record 513 all-purpose yards in a game against Fresno State in 2005. That's easy enough, right? But the second one was a harder pill for USC to swallow. Bush wanted the university to reimburse him for the attorney fees that he incurred trying to get the Heisman Trophy. And the thought here is that the trophy is at USC. They're using it as a recruiting pitch. They're benefiting off of his work, and he was just asking for a portion of those attorney fees in return. In the end, they actually ended up denying that request. So on September 23rd, Bush put out a news release informing the world that he would be using the nuclear option and suing USC. So I said in the beginning that a lawsuit like this was bound to come, but it actually has come in the form of House versus NCAA, which, if finalized, would establish $2.78 billion in retroactive damage payments for former college athletes dating back to 2016 who did not have the opportunity to earn compensation from their NIL. But Bush wouldn't benefit from that. Neither would Cam Newton, or Tim Tebow, or Matt Leinart, or Ricky Williams, or Charles Woodson. So of course, that would only be the start of things. And that is a set payment. But the offensive lineman for Iowa does not equal the Heisman Trophy winner from 2017. So there's still going to be more suing. However, with all the history between Reggie Bush and USC and the NCAA, it really looks like USC might have fucked up real bad. Admittedly, the attorney fees that Reggie Bush was asking USC to pay was going to be no small fee. But USC somehow found a way to, again, benefit off of Reggie Bush's free labor while in the midst of trying to smooth over all the things that came from him trying to benefit from his own labor in the first place. And USC is probably going to pay for it. We don't have the exact amount that he's suing for, but in the lawsuit, they allege USC made $30 million off of Reggie Bush jersey sales alone. That's not to mention ticket sales, media rights, and all of the ways that these schools make money off of their sports teams, specifically their college football teams. So this is why I say everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything, can blow up in a hurry. Any way you want to slice it, top-level college football players have no recourse to make money commensurate with their worth directly from their work. NIL money is a sidestep that still allows these schools to rake in millions and millions of dollars every season while not paying their most lucrative employees for their work. Yes, they do get scholarships, they do get room and board, which it's nothing to sneeze at, especially for like 75% of FBS players who are probably at or near their worth with that compensation. But top level players essentially have a contract with their school that they had no hand in negotiating. And name, image, and likeness is money that they could be making with or without their school paying them. And I agree, there's valid arguments to be made that the platform that's given by these schools, their brands, and college football in general is creating a lot of the value in NIL in the first place. However, good lawyers and unbiased, non-politically motivated judges can easily come to understand there's an unbalanced situation in which the NCAA has a monopoly that is allowing it to benefit off of these players' labor at an extreme discount when they have no choice to go anywhere else. Not only do they have no other choice on where to play, no college football player has ever been able to argue for any different circumstances. It's not like there's a union like electricians or any other professional sports league in America that argues for a CBA. It's just how it's always been, decided by the schools. So ostensibly, this lawsuit is about Reggie Bush and other pre-2016 players getting their share of the NIL pot. But in reality, this is a major part of the NCAA's eventual demise. Just for some context, college football is super old. Yale and Princeton, which is the oldest continual rivalry, have been playing since 1873. That makes it way older than the NFL. It started as this close regional thing where colleges were just playing this new American sport against each other, and there wasn't any money involved. It grew over time, though, and conferences started banding together, and as the popularity grew, the sport nationalized. And over these last couple of years, we've gotten to the point where UCLA in LA and Rutgers in New Jersey are somehow in the same conference, and Cal is in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And this is all for obvious monetary reasons. But so many of the people running the sport and probably involved in those decisions have to hold on to this lie that players are student athletes. And that what this has turned into is an NFL developmental league that even though it's that, it should still be tied to education. To be honest, a lot of fans want to hold on to this as well. A lot of older fans especially want to hold on to this as well because it makes the sport more fun to watch. If you think that these players are doing it for the love of the game, and if you think that they're trying their hardest just to represent their school, that's a more pure thing. That's closer to what they started watching when they started watching college football than to what it is now. But so many of these changes that we're seeing make it so obvious that sport doesn't exist anymore. And if you look at what's happened to college basketball over the last few years, the future starts to look even more bleak. The best high school basketball prospects have been going overseas or going to Overtime Elite or the fucking Big Baller League or these other small leagues that popped up in America. They've been doing that for years. And it's actually becoming pretty clear that at some point in the next couple of years, they'll be able to bypass all of those options and the best high school players will go directly to the NBA. So the only things that are really keeping college basketball alive are March Madness, which is the best tournament setup of any sport in the world, and the brands that these schools have built. And many of those same brands are at the top of what's driving college football and all the money going into college football. And that's the thing. Neither of these sports are hurting for money. But can they withstand not only having to now pay the players that are currently playing for their labor that they are contributing to the sport, but also have to pay back pay to all the players that got their sport to where it is now? On the other hand, is there any judge in the country that would rule in favor of a settlement that would have public universities paying out billions of taxpayer dollars on what is essentially entertainment? Entertainment or not, this Reggie Bush lawsuit is going to make all of America look directly in the face of all the money these college players have been making for these universities and decide whether or not it's okay to just give them a scholarship and the ability to make money on the side. It's a battle we have coming in this country that's going to test what justice really means, because it could not only cripple college sports, but it could cripple the U.S. university system as we know it. And that might be a little dramatic, but honestly, we have no idea how far this thing's going to go. So, on the lighter side of things, eventually there's going to be some smaller division of professional developmental football that's going to come in and replace the current FBS structure that we have. And if we use the UFL, the Rock's Spring League, as an example, you can't start with all new brands. That's a super long road. Nobody wants to watch a St. Louis Battlehawks game. People are still going to want to watch the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the motherfucking Oregon Ducks like this guy. That means there's no way that we're going to be able to burn this all down and restart and not lose so much in the process. You can never do that in life. We're always building on top of, building on top of, building on top of. It's like the Kowloon City obscure reference. But we don't really know where we're going to go from here because college football is this it's a set of wired headphones that you left in your backpack and it got all tangled up and you'll never be able to fully untangle it. It's like 160 years old. It's a beast. And for better or for worse, it's probably going to be here for another 160 years and beyond in some form or another. All we can do at this point is watch what happens with the Reggie Bush lawsuit and try to understand what it means for the sport that we love. And at the end of the day, we do love football. We can talk as much shit as we want to about the NCAA or the university presidents or the NFL for that matter. But at the end of the day, we love football and we want to continue to see the sport grow and we want to continue to honor where it's come from. And part of that is taking the players that have made it what it's become now and making sure they get their fair share of what it actually is. Thanks for watching that video. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you would like to check out some more of the stuff that we've got going on, we got some sports videos down here about QB pay and Super Bowls. And then up here we have our most recent video, which is about the Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl chances. Other than that, just make sure you subscribe on this side here, and we'll catch you next time. See ya!